It's an incredible setup here, incredible matchmaking, incredible storytelling. Oh, you had to come here. All these fighters that step in here are warriors, and all have my respect. And I'm into this game, yeah. We'll be into this, yeah.
And we are live here in the Maverick Center here in Salt Lake City.
Whoever's the king of violence right here, this is going to be a great fight. Early on the target. Right hand from McQuillan. Who's the king of violence? I am!
Combat fighting in its purest form, bare knuckle fighting in the city of angels.
We've got the biggest announcement in the BKFC history we're about to make, so let's make that announcement.
What's up, Knucklemania? The notorious Conor McGregor here. Ladies and gentlemen, the huge announcement that I have for you today. Conor McGregor, myself, and McGregor Sports and Entertainment is now an owner of Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship. Welcome to the big leagues. David Feldman, baby, we did it.
He's now an owner of BKFC with us, and we're going to take this motherfucking thing all the way to the top.
Welcome in the NewsWire here on SportsGrid. I'm Craig Mish on this Thursday morning, getting ready to deliver all of the information going on in Paris at the Olympic Games. In fact, we've got the world's best golfers underway. We will have an update and a leaderboard coming up in just a few minutes on that. Bill Bender will join us from Sporting News to go over the very latest and give you some potential winners in some soccer matches. We'll review some basketball as well. We also have Sam McQuillan in the house from Legal Sports Report. And with college football season just a few weeks away, the Atlantic Coast Conference has some new teams and a new look. And we're going to preview what the ACC odds are on a lot of the different teams, season win totals, and who could potentially win the conference with some teams out west joining the East. And that's where we'll begin here on the show today with some football. We'll go off the field, though, to begin. For those of you who are waiting to get your check from the NFL or from DirecTV for buying NFL Sunday Ticket, well, I think you're going to have to wait a little bit longer for some reparations there, because a judge has ruled that the jury did not act appropriately when they deemed the NFL was not in compliance with how much money they charged to people who purchased NFL Sunday Ticket through the years via DirecTV, very specifically. Subscribers against the NFL said that the NFL did not do the right thing. They charged too much. They had a monopoly. But apparently this U.S. District Judge, Philip Gutierrez, made the remark saying that the jury did not understand the final reparations as in terms of what they ruled, and he may order a brand new trial because the 8-person jury came up with its own calculation for damages. So if you're looking for your mailbox, or you're looking for your direct deposit to get a few $100s back from your purchasing Sunday NFL Ticket in, let's say, 2013, I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon. Stay tuned. All right, Paige Beckers, congratulations to her. How about this new NIL deal that she gets from women's basketball? I mean, this is just incredible. Think about this. She's the first NCAA athlete to receive ownership equity in a league. Beckers is expected to play in Unrivaled, which is a new league that allows players to have a share in the ownership. She's also going to play in the WNBA as well. So she'll have 10 to 15% ownership, which is what the pool is allowing. And essentially there's a league cap for the 30 players, and that'll be about $7.5 million and an average of $250,000. So Paige Beckers and some others cashing in, getting ownership of a new league, again, called Unrivaled. But again, still will play in the WNBA. All right, Venue Sports makes a big announcement for those of you who are sick of streaming sports and paying for extra services. This story is not going to make you feel any better, because here's another one. Venue is a sports streaming platform through ESPN, Fox, Warner Brothers, and Discovery. The cost, $42.99. They will launch in the fall. It's being considered by some to be the equivalent of Hulu for sports. It'll include the NFL, the NBA, baseball, hockey, WNBA, NASCAR, And then if you're like me, you forget to cancel, or you don't even know how many subscriptions you have. I'm just not signing up for any new subscriptions right now. I got to keep it to a minimum. I need like a list somewhere to keep what I bought. I don't need a list to know what's going on at the Olympics. My producer Frank tells me. So this is pretty simple. Right now, Carlos Alcaraz comes back with a huge win at the Olympics in tennis. He was down 2-5 in the second set to Tommy Paul and ends up reaching the semifinals. He'll play for a medal tomorrow. 11-match winning streak at Roland Garros as well. He's got that going on. Also, Lorenzo Musetti beat Alexander Zverev. This just happened as well. Zverev, by the way, won the gold back in 2021. Keep an eye out later this afternoon for El Coast to Coast 3 o'clock for more announcements there. Iga Swiatek loses this morning to Qin Weng Zhang in the semifinals. Swiatek was minus 250 to win the gold. She will not win it. It's the first loss for her since Roland Garros in 2021. Zhang has an opportunity from China to capture the gold, which would be incredible. I mean, this generally does not happen for their country, so congratulations to them. Also, Leon Marchand completed one of the most incredible doubles in swimming history on Wednesday night. He won the 200-meter butterfly and then the 200-meter breaststroke about 2 hours apart at the Paris Games. I mean, two different competitions here and two different strokes and two Olympic records and also two gold medals. So people are comparing Marchand to Michael Phelps, and I think that's fair at this point. He's had a great run. So has Katie Ledecky. 8th Olympic gold medal of her career, 12th medal overall with a runaway victory in the 1,500-meter freestyle Wednesday at the Paris Games. She also confirmed after the race she ain't going to retire. She wants to compete in LA in a few years, and she's only 27, so why not? So she ties fellow Americans Dara Torres, you heard of her, Natalie Coughlin, and Jenny Thompson for the most medals ever by a female swimmer. Ledecky said that she doesn't care about history, so we'll just give it to her here. Top 20 times ever in women's 1,500-meter freestyle. I mean, it's kind of funny that we made this graphic because you could just see how many times that she's done it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. The 8th fastest yesterday. And then I guess we have another graphic that's going to show you 9 through 20. Did we emphasize the point here just how many times she has been able to win and has swum faster than anybody else? I think you got that there. All right, so now the other story that's percolating from the Olympics, among others, as you may have heard, has been this Canadian women's soccer team that's been penalized for spying on another. In fact, their coach is out and they were docked points in the Olympics. But that has not stopped them. They continue to win. So keep an eye on this story as we go too. Vanessa Giles is on Team Canada, scored the 62nd minute, and Canada wins 1-0 over Colombia. And now they're in the quarterfinals in Paris. Again, they've lost 6 points in the tournament because of the drone that they flew over and, to beat New Zealand. They probably didn't even need to do it anyway. But regardless, Bev Priestman is out. Team Canada rolls on. As far as on the basketball court for Team USA, they were 30-point favorites yesterday. There was never any opportunity for them to cover that spread if you watched it. Although the game did go under the total of 191. 103-86 yesterday. Team USA beats South Sudan, and they're 2-0 in Olympic play, and now they're in the quarterfinals. The bench had 66 points for them. Joel Embiid, by the way, never got off the bench. Jason Tatum ended up playing in the starting lineup. Bam Adebayo had a big game off the bench, 18 points, 8 for 10 shooting. The U.S. Men still the favorite to win the gold. As far as this 3-on-3 men's competition, I don't know if you've seen this. This is new to the Olympics. It's a 3-on-3 tournament. Team USA is just not faring pretty well here. Jimmer Fredette, who is the lead of that team, they end up losing 19-7 to Poland on Wednesday night. They're 0-2 in this 3-on-3 play. Also, Coco Gauff is now out of the Olympics. She lost in the women's doubles and mixed doubles at the Paris Olympics on Wednesday. And really, really tough run for her. She said, quote, "At the end of the day, it's over. 20 years old. She'll take the positive out of it." Still very young, Coco Gauff can compete in LA in 4 years. Also, Simone Biles, on the other hand, she decided to jump back into the Olympics again. And boy, that has gone well. There's a chance that she can aim for the gold later today. So we'll see what happens. Keep an eye on her on the mat. And she'll compete in the gymnastics all-around final. And 8 years ago, she earned the gold. And here she is 8 years later competing again. Over in Major League Baseball, Jackson Holliday recalled by the Baltimore Orioles. They placed Jordan Westburg on the injured list. And Holliday ended up hitting his first career home run. It was a grand slam in the game for the O's yesterday. He almost hit a second home run as well. Westburg, by the way, was hit by a 95-mile-an-hour fastball in the 5th inning. He's going to be out for an extended period of time. You would imagine Holliday, is not going to go down now anytime soon. They just traded one of their other infielders to Miami. Jack Flaherty, there was a lot of teams interested in him at the trade deadline. LA was the one who made the deal. Apparently there were some imaging issues, some medical issues, but that didn't stop the Dodgers from acquiring him. Some other teams, not so much. Clayton Kershaw, by the way, had a streak of 432 regular season starts with one strikeout come to an end. He's just coming back off injury. The Padres ended up winning that game 8-1. Over to the National Football League, a new contract for an offensive lineman. The guy who used to protect Tom Brady is now protecting Baker Mayfield and their quarterback. It's Tristan Wirfs, a 5-year deal, $140 million contract extension for the highest paid offensive lineman in football. Jonah Jackson for the Rams was hurt yesterday in practice, and no word on how long he'll be out. We'll know later today. They're on the West Coast. NFL game tonight, Houston Texans, Chicago Bears. It is the Hall of Fame game. Houston's a slight favorite. If you bet on it, you're crazy, but just go right ahead and don't tell them I told you so. Gordon Hayward retires in the NBA after 14 NBA seasons. Bill Bender is not retiring. He's up next to give us the very latest on the soccer pitch, Team USA and Morocco. We'll hit it next.
Recently, I feel like I'm not doing anything wrong. I'm not making bad swings. I don't feel like I'm making terrible decisions, and just had got a little bit of a streak of bad luck on par fives. Didn't birdie any of them at the Open, didn't birdie any of them today. It's just, and I didn't feel like I did anything terribly wrong, right? But that's just golf. It happens. What's done is done, and this week is the most important week of the year right now.
If he lands it pin high, he's going to be off over the pin position and leave himself a tough putt there. That should bite now. He didn't like it by the looks of it, but he'll love it when he sees it.
Just get this before that bunker. Put himself in a good position.
Just a tiny little baby fade, ideally placed.
To tie the lead at 16. Playing well, isn't he, John Rahm?
And OMG, what a championship Sunday we just witnessed.
Win, right? So obviously you always want to get that done, but you don't want to see a teammate and a good friend, missing a putt for that happening for me.
The Live Golf League delivers every single event, doesn't it? I mean, what an incredible finish there. You know what, Tyrrell Hatton, I feel for him. He's been playing beautiful golf. In fact, since Miami, he's been the best player in our league based on the strokes gained metric.
I'm really happy that I had my first Live Golf win. Now that Kelly and the kids are watching, just knowing that I'm bringing the trophy home for them, it feels good to say that it's coming home.
Welcome back to NewsWire here on SportsGrid. Boy, they're keeping Bill Bender busy. Bill Bender busy? That's some good alliteration here on NewsWire. As Bill is ready to cover the sports going on in Paris right now. He's got his eye on soccer. We'll break it all down for you. What's going on, Bill? Welcome back to the show. Good to see you again.
Hey, not much, Craig. How are you?
I'm doing well. All right, so tomorrow we've got this big match, and boy, it seems like an even match tomorrow between Team USA and Morocco. In fact, Morocco, most people feel, will win this match. They're plus 120 on the money line against Team USA. They're plus 210. The match is tomorrow at 9 a.m. Confidence level for Team USA has been low throughout. This is probably, though, their best opportunity to win one if they can, Bill.
Yeah, they have a chance to get a top four finish in the Olympics for the first time since 2000, and that would be significant, not just for the program, but for the movement of soccer. I've always thought that Team USA needed to make a run to either a gold medal game here in the Olympics or a semifinal run in the World Cup for that to really legitimize what they're doing. Morocco is going to be a tough matchup, though. They've played really good defense. They've only allowed 3 goals in the entire pool play. Beat Argentina. That was a huge upset for them. And but Team USA, they've scored a lot in those last 2 games. So here would be the bet I would take. I mean, I think Morocco will win the game, but I would not be surprised if Team USA, if you want a sneaky little bet in there, maybe plus 120 to get that first goal.
Yeah, I think right now that's probably a better look than taking Team USA because I'm not so confident that they're going to come out of this thing. I kind of like a tie, by the way, at plus 240, coming from somebody that knows nothing, by the way. All right, so to win the gold, Team USA is nowhere near the favorite here. I mean, they would take a bronze any day of the week right now. France is the favorite at plus 220, Spain plus 280, Argentina plus 450. Then you have Morocco, and then Bill here on the FanDuel Sportsbook is a major drop-off from Morocco to everybody else. So that's kind of where the value could lie potentially to win the gold, but I don't know. I just don't see it. It feels like one of those top 3 teams.
Right. And it feels like to me, France and Spain, the way that they're playing, that's some carryover from the Euro tournament, especially for Spain, the way that they look. I mean, France being the home team, that would be something for them. And, like I said, Morocco did beat Argentina, but Argentina could pay those back. So I think as much as I would like to see the Team USA and the United States make a run to the gold medal game, and it would be a great surprise, any of those teams plus 1,000 or more, you're banking on a lot of things to happen.
Yeah, I would agree with you. And those are the odds there to win. Paraguay, if you want to take a big shot, 18-1 there. All right, so, the other match that's going on right now is we have another one between France and Argentina, and that game could potentially mean something for the gold or the silver, as France is the favorite at minus 110. Argentina is plus 300. A tie is plus 250. Is there something on the board here that you like, Bill, or is it one of those exotics in terms of the props?
Yeah, a little much of the props. A tie, it makes sense to me. That's one of those where they could go back and forth, and then it goes from there. But, if you want to take a swing on Argentina, you can. They're definitely, back against the wall, still a very talented team, can make that run. But when you're going up against the home team on their turf, that makes it a little bit tougher.
All right. Now, the other thing that we have going on, and I know you're following this closely as well, is Team USA's women's basketball team. So with the men taking a break, we have the women playing Belgium today at 3 o'clock Eastern. And very similar to the game against South Sudan yesterday, Team USA is playing against a team that they should beat pretty handedly. They're 23.5-point favorites against Belgium with a total of 164.5. I know several players on Team USA. Bill, I know nothing of Team Belgium. So tell me what kind of odds they have of keeping this game even close today.
Well, I feel like I'm going to give you the same speech I did yesterday, which was not bad with the exception of Joel Embiid not playing,
Right.
So I missed that. But everything else wasn't bad yesterday in the analysis. Team USA beat Belgium 81-79 in qualifying. Now, Asia Wilson didn't play in that game, much like Kevin Durant didn't play the first time they played South Sudan. That's going to be a huge difference maker, give them some edge on the rebounding. Team USA scored 100 points or more in each of their games, except against Belgium and Germany. So if you're looking at that over, it could be a little dicey like it was yesterday, right down to the last shot. That said, I mean, Belgium doesn't have the talent the Team USA does. They do have Julie Van Loo, Mystics guard, kind of a role player, can get some assists, played well the first time. There's a prop I might hit. She may score more than 15 points in this game. But I mean, with Aja Wilson out there, I think it's going to make it that much tougher for Belgium to control the glass. I mean, Brianna Stewart and Aja Wilson will be able to control the rebounding in this game.
Yeah, Aja Wilson minus 166 to score 20 points. Real quick, Bill, to win the silver medal, you've got a lot of different options here in terms of the women. Let's run them through real quick. I know we don't have a lot of time. France would be minus 110. They're also one of the favorites to win the gold. So it seems like FanDuel's telling us, Bill, France is going to win gold or silver. Any other options here?
Well, Spain, just like I did with the soccer, I'll stick there. I think they could have an upset in the medal round when we get to that. France is playing really well. Germany's another team that held Team USA to less than 100 points. So they're also a team to watch that I could see make a run there. But yeah, I think you're betting on all of these teams. I mean, if you're betting, you're kind of looking at second place. This Team USA team, especially with Stewart and Wilson down low and controlling the game, they're going to be really tough to beat.
All right, great stuff, Bill. As always, we'll catch up with you very soon. I'm gonna guarantee next week you and I are gonna do some college football. All right, I'm putting it out there. We got to hit it next week. Thanks again for coming on.
Hey, no problem. I can't wait for week 0, just like you.
Yeah, me too, man. All right, Bill Bender with us here on NewsWire. Coming up next, time for the sound off. Jackson Holiday goes deep, hits a grand slam. We'll hit on that yesterday. Also, hey, Big Ten. I mean, we got to hit with Big Ben. Ben Stevens will weigh in on everything going on in college football. Also, Philadelphia Eagles are getting a couple of days off from meetings. How did they end up accomplishing that? Well, we have the video to show you that as well. You're watching NewsWire here on SportsGrid. And folks, don't forget, we got the very best coverage of sports betting in terms of the Paris Olympic Games right now. So many different options to get an edge on all of it. You need to stay tuned to us 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, including coming up with Kaplan, Scotty Kaplan, 1 p.m. Eastern. We'll be back right after this.
Recently, I feel like I'm not doing anything wrong. I'm not making bad swings. I don't feel like I'm making terrible decisions, and just had got a little bit of a streak of bad luck on par fives. Didn't birdie any of them at the Open, didn't birdie any of them today. It's just, and I didn't feel like I did anything terribly wrong, right? But that's just golf. It happens. What's done is done, and this week is the most important week of the year right now.
If he lands it pin high, he's going to be off over the pin position and leave himself a tough putt there. That should bite now. He didn't like it by the looks of it, but he'll love it when he sees it.
Just got this before that bunker. Put himself in a good position.
Just a tiny little baby fade, ideally placed.
To tie the lead at 16. Playing well, isn't he, John Rahm?
And OMG, what a championship Sunday we just witnessed.
Win, right? Selfishly, you always want to get that done, but you don't want to see a teammate and a good friend, missing a putt for that happening for me.
The Live Golf League delivers every single event, doesn't it? I mean, what an incredible finish there. You know what, Tyrrell Hatton, I feel for him. He's been playing beautiful golf. In fact, since Miami, he's been the best player in our league based on the strokes gained metric.
I'm really happy that I had my first Live Golf win. Now that Kelly and the kids are watching, just knowing that I'm bringing the trophy home for them, it feels good to say that it's coming home.
Welcome back to NewsWire here on SportsGrid. Sometimes we jump the gun on our professional athletes. We'll talk about Jackson Holiday here of the Baltimore Orioles, also discuss getting paid as an NFL quarterback, and also how you get out of class in the NFL. It's time now for our sound off. Jackson Holiday is the greatest sensation going right now in Major League Baseball. That is not named Paul Skeens. Jackson Holiday, just 20 years old, called up to the major leagues earlier this season and did not have a great cup of coffee. Well, his second cup is going well. He comes back, he hits his first home run of his big league career. It ends up being a grand slam. And there's even better news here, is that the person that caught Jackson Holiday's ball decided to give it back. As a fan, probably a better man than me, just being honest. Here's exactly what happened. Holiday ends up getting it back as a family came to see the game, and here's kind of what happened.
How's it going?
I'm Jackson.
Jackson, congratulations, sir. That was a great hit, man.
Buddy. Oh, thank you. I got you something.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Well, that is awesome.
Yeah, I hope you like it.
Well, congrats, dude. We appreciate you coming to say hi to us.
Appreciate you guys being easy about it.
Dude,
Awesome.
Yeah, if he ever gets that opportunity, I hope he gets his ball back.
Yeah.
Just as a dad,
Absolutely.
I hope that one day, if you get that chance, it'd be cool. What do you say?
Thank you.
Did you want to ask him anything?
Thank you.
How's the Gatorade feel?
Cold. Really cold.
You know, I'm not crying, you're crying, right? Like one of those kind of deals. Very well said by the father there of that little kid. I never really thought about that because for me, it always bothered me. It still bothers me when Major League Baseball teams, like their officials, go into the stands and they sort of corner the fan and like, you got to give the ball back. But in that case, that guy had a son that wants his kid to play Major League Baseball one day. And hey, I've been there too. I understand. So, certainly I think good job handled by all there. Meanwhile, let's check in with Ben Stevens. A couple of quarterbacks getting paid in the National Football League. Jordan Love, Tua Tagovailoa. With a big paycheck comes big expectations.
Jordan Love and Tua Tagovailoa got paid. Love becomes the highest paid quarterback in history, alongside Joe Burrow and Trevor Lawrence, $55 million per year. Tua Tagovailoa, fourth highest paid QB in the NFL, $53.1 million per year. But now with a big paycheck comes big expectation. Both the Packers and the Dolphins, Jordan Love, the quarterback in Green Bay, Tua Tagovailoa, the quarterback in South Florida, expected to be double-digit win teams this year. Both the Packers and the Fins, a win total of 9.5. The over has the juice. Both Green Bay and Miami favored to see the postseason. Green Bay in the NFC, Miami in the AFC. But the Packers, a slightly better outlook to contend for a Lombardi trophy. Green Bay 18-1 to win a Super Bowl. Miami 24-1 to win Super Bowl 59. Now it's time to back up the paycheck with some postseason pedigree. Craig, back to you.
Getting paid $40 million a year to do anything in life is pretty cool, let alone being the quarterback of the Green Bay Packers and Miami Dolphins. Thanks a lot, Ben. We'll catch you tomorrow on the early line. Meanwhile, the Philadelphia Eagles found a way to get out of team meetings and not practice, but team meetings for a couple of days. In fact, they had a challenge implored by their head coach, basically saying that if we set up this little basketball net, and if one of our players makes it, you guys get out of these meetings. And here's what happened.
That's all.
That was Chauncey Gardner-Johnson of the Philadelphia Eagles defensive back hitting that shot. And I think that it's fair to say, I don't know how this is all going to pan out, but with the amount of players that they have in camp during NFL training camp, I think more than just the meetings, good things are going to happen to Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. A dinner of some kind, maybe coffee in the morning. I don't know. But if I'm a player on that team and I got out of that, I may want to hand something over. All right, Sam McQuillan is not handing anything over except for information, courtesy of LegalSportsReport.com, great website that follows sports betting and the business of it. He's going to weigh in on the top stories going on right now here in the United States of America. And we'll have that for you next here on NewsWire.
Recently, I feel like I'm not doing anything wrong. I'm not making bad swings. I don't feel like I'm making terrible decisions, and just had got a little bit of a streak of bad luck on par fives. Didn't birdie any of them at the Open, didn't birdie any of them today. It's just, and I didn't feel like I did anything terribly wrong, right? But that's just golf. It happens. What's done is done, and This week is the most important week of the year right now.
If he lands it pin high, he's going to be off over the pin position and leave himself a tough putt there. That should bite now. He didn't like it by the looks of it, but he'll love it when he sees it.
Just got this before that bunker. Put himself in a good position.
Just a tiny little baby fade, ideally placed.
To tie the lead at 16. Oh, he's playing well, isn't he, John Rahm?
And OMG, what a championship Sunday we just witnessed.
Win, right? Selfishly, you always want to get that done, but you don't want to see a teammate and a good friend, missing a putt for that happening for me.
The Live Golf League delivers every single event, doesn't it? I mean, what an incredible finish there. You know what, Tyrrell Hatton, I feel for him. He's been playing beautiful golf. In fact, since Miami, he's been the best player in our league based on the strokes gained metric.
I'm really happy that I had my first Live Golf win. Now that Kelly and the kids are watching, just knowing that I'm bringing the trophy home for them, it feels good to say that it's coming home.
Welcome back to NewsWire here on SportsGrid. Sam McQuillan has got himself a brand new studio. My gosh, what a great work in progress that appears to be going. Let's bring Sam in, take a look and see how. Oh, there he is. Sam's looking good. I think he got a haircut even too. Sam, thanks for coming back here on NewsWire. Great to see you.
Yeah, Craig, thanks for having me.
All right, so let's get started right away. You don't want to have any fun with me. That's fine. We'll get right to the news. Prize Picks. Let's dive in. Prize Picks basically getting themselves in a new partnership with another company. There's some discussion as to whether or not they would be sold outright. What's the very latest there?
Yeah, interesting development here. Prize Picks has hired Moelis & Co., which is one of the largest investment banks in the world, to explore potential merger and acquisition opportunities. Moelis & Co., if you're not familiar with them, helped facilitate high-profile deals like the Sprint and T-Mobile merger that happened a few years ago. They've helped MGM sell off a couple of casinos. So they're no stranger to the gambling or fantasy space either. But it's being reported that Prize Picks is apparently not interested in selling itself outright to another company. So that kind of leads us to speculate what exactly might happen here, whether they'd be buying somebody else, whether they'd be merging with someone else. On paper, you would think a company like DraftKings or FanDuel would be really interested in Prize Picks because of the database of players that they have in states like California and Texas, basically places that those companies have been pining away to have legalized forever. And Prize Picks has been able to kind of offer this, shall we say, adjacent product, the whole pick'em thing going on, where you can basically do parlays as long as they're in an entry. But off of paper, Prize Picks and the other pick'em companies, the underdogs of the world, sort of have bad blood with the companies. They've kind of, behind closed doors or sometimes outside of closed doors, have accused them of leading this kind of attack against them where states have cracked down on their products. So it makes you kind of think that a company like DraftKings or FanDuel wouldn't really be interested in merging. And you've had other companies like Underdog start off with fantasy sports betting and then use that as a way to launch into sports betting. Prize Picks has been pretty vocal about not wanting to do sports betting, and you can't really blame them when they've been so successful doing the fantasy product, which is a lot cheaper and probably has a lot better return. So you're kind of wondering what might happen here. They've obviously hired this firm to make some sort of move. I don't know if they'd be acquiring a competitor like Underdog or Sleeper. Kind of have to see how this all develops. So it's going to be something to watch. I guarantee, it's going to be another interesting year with all this fantasy stuff coming to a head once the political stuff gets going. So the fact that Prize Picks is making moves at this time is definitely a significant sign to keep watch going forward.
Yeah, I would agree. All right, so now it is earnings season, and for you folks over at Legal Sports Report, that means we get the very latest going on with all of the sports betting operators. Let's start off with Caesars. What did their numbers look like?
Yeah, it's really interesting for reporters like us to kind of get a good look under the hood of what these sports betting companies are doing. And Caesars was one of the first to report. They had a really, really strong second quarter, especially when you're talking about the entire business, but also specifically online sports betting and iGaming. They had $45 million in adjusted earnings before interest, taxes, depreciation, and amortization. It's kind of a tongue twister. It's very jargony, but that's basically we look at when you're talking about making profit in the industry. That's been a big theme over the last couple of years. One of these companies is going to start making profit. Caesars wants to make a $500 million profit sort of by the end of next year. So the fact that they were able to do $45 million just in the first half of this year is pretty impressive when you look at what they did last year when they only had $7 million in EBITDA at that time. So the way that they've done it is essentially growing their iGaming app. Sports betting really hasn't been as big of a priority for them as much in terms of growing handle and growing users. They've really focused on using the Caesars product. They launched the App Palace last year, which they said is really fueling growth there. They had, I think, handle in iGaming is up 39% this year, which is obviously huge when you talk about a business with better margins for a company like that. Sports betting is also improving, but not as much at the same rate. They had a 7.2% hold compared to 6.4% last year. So it's getting better, which they're talking about. The product is improving, which, when it comes to the product, it's how can you get people to bet more parlays? How can you have the most attractive same-game parlay offering that people are going to basically bet more on these bets that don't turn out as well for them, typically as kind of straight bets on different sides of games and totals and things like that. So they're kind of catching up in that department, but sports betting is definitely still not as much of a priority as iGaming. So it'll be really interesting to see going forward, whether they pivot, when they kind of get happy with iGaming and, okay, maybe this is the time we can utilize the sports betting product more. But so far, kind of the plan that they've had of doing iGaming first and getting that right seems to be working out for their bottom line.
Yeah, I agree. A very interesting company, I think, to watch in Caesars as well. Now, the one that we all talk about here on the show, the two, I should say, probably are FanDuel and DraftKings, because those are the leaders and those are the ones that really set the bar for everyone else. They also, I know, recently had their earnings report, and not surprisingly, Sam, it just seems to me that everywhere I look for promos involve parlays, and if that's the case, that's telling me what's driving the bus for these companies.
Yeah, you're 100% spot on, Craig. It's kind of like, where there's smoke, there's fire. If these companies are going to continue to offer me more parlays and say, hey, we can juice your bet even better if you add another parlay leg, please do it. Here's all these promos around parlays. That's really telling you what they want you to do, obviously. And it seems to be working for DraftKings. In the first quarter, they had really impressive numbers, having a 9.5% hold, despite having one of the worst quarters in terms of sports results. A lot of favorites won. They got hammered in football. They got hammered in baseball early on. But DraftKings was able basically to weather the storm by offering so many parlays where they were actually able to squeeze more money out of their existing customers. So this go around, the second quarter, it's going to be really interesting because, sports results have gone a lot better in favor of the books and worse against bettors, presumably because last quarter was one of the worst ever. So now it's about how is DraftKings able to take what they did with a really bad quarter and, wow, can they do an even more amazing job now that they had kind of a normal environment to work with? So they might be kind of victims a little bit of their success with the last quarter. So investors are going to be looking for sort of blow us away kind of quarter in terms of how much they've been able to grow revenue customer and how much they've been able to grow hold, because all that kind of fits in of their vision of having 10.5% hold at the end of the year, which doesn't make much sense unless you have context. The industry average is kind of 8%, so that'd be a pretty big margin that they're hoping to get, and in turn have their first year of profitability. So it's going to be a pretty big report that investors are hoping comes out from DraftKings, and hoping that it keeps them kind of steady on this path. And I'm sure the market will react really quickly. And as you said, these are the leaders in the space. So whatever DraftKings and FanDuel are doing, everyone else is going to follow. Caesars is starting to do more parlays because it worked with DraftKings. So maybe if they offer something new here, does the rest of the industry also look at, hey, maybe, we haven't been forward.
All right, Sam. Thanks so much for coming on NewsWire. We'll catch up with Sam again next week. Now, there is one story to update from the National Football League today. Reporters who are covering the Cleveland Browns say that on a kickoff return drill. Now, remember, kickoffs are different in the NFL this season, which is leading to more action and less touchbacks. Dante Foreman, who was playing on special teams, if his name sounds familiar, he's played running back for a number of years in the NFL. He was on special teams and was injured in a play, and the medical part had to come out and take him off the field and immobilize him. So naturally, when anytime this happens in the NFL, I want to bring you that quick update to Dante Foreman, running back on the Cleveland Browns. All right, we'll take a quick timeout. When we come back next, it's time to dive into the Atlantic Coast Conference. New teams, new look. Is there more than one team in the ACC that can get the college football playoff? We'll dive into that and a lot more with Josh Graham coming up next. Okay.
Recently, I feel like I'm not doing anything wrong. I'm not making bad swings. I don't feel like I'm making terrible decisions, and just had got a little bit of a streak of bad luck on par fives. Didn't birdie any of them at the Open, didn't birdie any of them today. It's just, and I didn't feel like I did anything terribly wrong, right? But that's just golf. It happens. What's done is done, and this week is the most important week of the year right now.
If he lands it pin high, he's going to be off over the pin position and leave himself a tough putt there. That should bite now. He didn't like it by the looks of it, but he'll love it when he sees it.
Just get this before that bunker. Put himself in a good position.
Just a tiny little baby fade, ideally placed.
To tie the lead at 16. Playing well, isn't he, John Rahm?
And OMG, what a championship Sunday we just witnessed.
Win, right? Selfishly, you always want to get that done, but you don't want to see a teammate and a good friend, missing a putt for that happening for me.
The Live Golf League delivers every single event, doesn't it? I mean, what an incredible finish there. You know what, Tyrrell Hatton, I feel for him. He's been playing beautiful golf. In fact, since Miami, he's been the best player in our league based on the strokes gained metric.
I'm really happy that I had my first Live Golf win. Now that Kelly and the kids are watching, just knowing that I'm bringing the trophy home for them, it feels good to say that it's coming home.
Welcome back to NewsWire here on SportsGrid. In just a few weeks, we'll be talking some college football. We've got games coming up in week 0, and the Atlantic Coast Conference is among some of them. It's great to have Josh Graham here on NewsWire to break down what the conference will look like this season and also go over some season win totals. Hey, Josh, great to have you here on NewsWire. Thanks for making the appearance today.
Craig, it's crazy. It's August 1st. We've got preseason football tonight. As you mentioned, week 0 featuring Florida State and Georgia Tech is 3 weeks and 2 days away.
Right.
Like, it's here, man. It's here.
Yeah, I'm super excited for it here. It's just a great time of the year. I think, special time having both college and pro back at the same time, really NFL preseason and college football as well. All right, so there's a chance, Josh, that, people are tuning in and they're like, what's the big deal? Like, so big deal. They got 12 teams playing for the playoff. That can't mean that much new. I mean, all these conferences, Josh, look completely different. And I guess the ACC, in theory, is one of those conferences that didn't undergo significant changes, but they did add 3 teams in college football. I want your opinion and your analysis here. What does adding SMU, Cal, and Stanford to the conference do?
Well, this was all done for self-preservation. Seeing what happened to the Pac-12, the ACC decided, they looked at their television contract, and what they saw based on reports is that as long as they have 14 or 15 schools in their conference, their television deal will remain intact, and they won't suffer the same fate if there's some poaching that is able to happen, or if internally schools are able to find legal loopholes, expensive legal loopholes, like Florida State and Clemson are trying to find right now with lawsuits. But it was done for self-preservation, to keep the league intact and to make sure they can keep their lucrative television deal with ESPN through 2036. And that's why you get the additions. And a lot of it is reactionary too. Started by the Big Ten going out west and first finding USC and UCLA. Then last summer, you see Colorado bail for the Big 12, and then the Big Ten double dip with Washington and Oregon. The ACC was kind of last at the table, and this is what you get when you're last at the table. But it is expansion west nonetheless, and this is all done. It's not done for fans. It's not done for people that enjoy the sport. It's done for financial reasons, unfortunately, and done for self-preservation as well.
Yeah, well said, Josh. I agree with you 100%. But, sometimes this is going to have happen. And unfortunately for fans who want to see their teams play, are going to have to wake up early or late, depending on where you are, for some bizarre road games this year. Boston College, will break them down in a minute, as well as Duke and their season win totals. But let's get to the new coaches there. Bill O'Brien, no stranger to college, no stranger to pro, takes over Boston College's program now to try and get them back to relevancy. I think that's probably fair. Get him back to winning some games. And Manny Diaz, of course, knows the ACC very well from his time at the University of Miami. Coached Texas defensively at a very high level. He takes over Duke University. Does either coach have a better chance to succeed this season in your mind?
Well, Duke was coming off success. There's a difference where neither of those coaches are taking over for somebody that was fired. They were, in one instance, it was a coach leaving to the NFL to become a defensive coach for the Packers. In another instance, it was Texas A&M bringing Mike Elko back. So these are not untalented rosters and coaches rebuilding something that failed. Now, it's not like Boston College was all that super successful, but you do have Thomas Castellanos at quarterback, who did a lot of good things last year, and there are people who are excited about him. Duke, but they had Riley Leonard that transferred to Notre Dame. Funny enough, his first game is going to be against his former coach at Duke, Mike Elko at A&M in week 1. But Malik Murphy is brought in to be the transfer quarterback for Manny Diaz. And for those who are unfamiliar with him, he was the guy who helped keep Texas afloat for a playoff run last year when Quinn Ewers was out to injury. But he saw the writing on the wall. Quinn Ewers is back. Arch Manning's on the way. So he decided to spend his last year of eligibility with Manny Diaz. And Manny's been clear. This is not a rebuilding job. This is a sustaining job where we're going to try to build on what Mike Elko already has put forth. Now, you could choose whether or not you buy it. And a lot of people aren't, considering that Duke was picked 11th in the ACC preseason poll that dropped yesterday. But neither of these coaches, it's kind of interesting, no coaches were fired from ACC teams last year. These are these are coaches succeeding what might be viewed as success before them.
All right, so let's take a look at some season win totals for Boston College and Duke. BC, 4.5 wins. The over is -152. Under is +124. And let's flip over to Duke. Duke is 5.5 wins. You can get some big plus money if they win 6 games at 5.5 there, +140. Wow. Under 5.5, though, -172. It seems like pretty much here. Now, again, it's sports, so who knows? Seems like both these teams are pretty much about even going into the year.
Yeah, they are, and it's you just don't know what new regimes are going to look like because, again, you have a lot of turnover that happens when you bring in a new coach in the age of the transfer portal. So those are really strong numbers being set by the books. And Boston College, I mentioned that Duke is picked 11th in the preseason poll. BC picked 14th. These are not teams expected to be stronger in the ACC, and you never know what's going to happen if you're already out of a conference championship race, what that does to teams in November.
Yeah, that's true. Now, Florida State has one of the highest win totals in college football, 9.5 going into the year. Is this a product of the conference being down or just FSU being very good this year? Which one?
FSU should have been in the playoff last year, and they bring a lot of talent back, and they bring in DJ Uiagalelei from Oregon State, who was at Clemson before that. The Noles are good, and that number, it seems to be pretty low. I actually like the over in that instance to get the double-digit wins.
Yeah, another quarterback from the ACC leaving, going back to the ACC, and DJ Uiagalelei with Florida State. Hard to keep up with this stuff. All right, well, I got to tell you, great breakdowns, Josh. Really appreciate it. We'll catch up again soon. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks, Craig.
All right, we'll take a quick timeout. We'll be back with Last Licks next.
Recently, I feel like I'm not doing anything wrong. I'm not making bad swings. I don't feel like I'm making terrible decisions, and just had got a little bit of a streak of bad luck on par fives. Didn't birdie any of them at the Open, didn't birdie any of them today. It's just, and I didn't feel like I did anything terribly wrong, right? But that's just golf. It happens. What's done is done, and this week is the most important week of the year right now.
If he lands it pin high, he's going to be off over the pin position and leave himself a tough putt there. That should bite now. He didn't like it by the looks of it, but he'll love it when he sees it.
Just get this before that bunker. Put himself in a good position.
Just a tiny little baby fade, ideally placed.
To tie the lead at 16. Playing well, isn't he, John Rahm?
And OMG, what a championship Sunday we just witnessed.
Win, right? So obviously you always want to get that done, but you don't want to see a teammate and a good friend missing a putt for that happening for me.
The Live Golf League delivers every single event, doesn't it? I mean, what an incredible finish there. You know what, Tyrrell Hatton, I feel for him. He's been playing beautiful golf. In fact, since Miami, he's been the best player in our league based on the strokes gained metric.
I'm really happy that I had my first Live Golf win. Now that Kelly and the kids are watching, just knowing that I'm bringing the trophy home for them, it feels good to say that it's coming home.
Welcome back to NewsWire here on SportsGrid. As we get ready to wrap up the show, don't forget, plenty of coverage coming from the Olympics in Paris, coming your way all day long right here exclusively on SportsGrid. All right, so now let's get to it, covering a number of topics. Patrick Mahomes apparently has a clone. Deshaun Foster finds a way to poke fun at himself. And also we'll hit on Reggie Bush's Heisman Trophy. It's time now for some Last Licks. Welcome back, Heisman Trophy. Reggie Bush finally giving back that trophy that they took away from him many years ago for allegedly working for money, agents, the whole thing. Now, in this day and age of NILs, I guess they have realized that it's perfectly fine not only to take money because they're giving money out like nobody's business, but also I mean, the ridiculousness of taking away his Heisman Trophy award at the time. We all still considered him to be the Heisman winner. Now, obviously, not a lot of people have publications and books anymore. There are some books out there that probably have the Heisman Trophy Award winner in 2004 and 2006, and then 2005 redacted. And they can't change that. Good thing for the internet that you can put it back in there. And there is the Heisman Trophy headed back to the University of Southern California. Really good news there. I saw Reggie Bush play his Heisman season in Miami. They played for the national championship, and I will never forget just how good he was at running back there. And by the way, what an incredible team Pete Carroll had at USC. They allowed fans, guys. They allowed fans to come watch their practice before the national championship game. I was covering it as media. They allowed the fans in to watch. That's how good USC is. In this day and age, you think a college football team would ever allow fans to watch the team right before a championship? Crazy time. All right, Dylan Raiola. Is this Patrick Mahomes or is this Dylan Raiola? I don't even know. I mean, Raiola is the quarterback of the Nebraska Cornhuskers. He wears 15, and I mean, it seems like he's trying to look. I mean, Frank, is he trying to look like Patrick Mahomes here? I'm not even sure. But when you put the two side by side, it is really hard to tell the difference here. Now, if you're going to emulate anybody as a quarterback in the National Football League, I mean, he's the guy to do it. But I guess I would ask Dylan this question. Don't you want to be your own guy, man? Don't you want to be your own person here? I mean, taking his number and taking his look and everything. I mean, that's some pressure there on you to play as good as him. Now, if he does, that's all we'll be talking about. But until that happens, not really getting this one. Choose number 16. Cut the hair a little to the one side, maybe. Dylan doesn't want to do that. All right, fine. You want to look like Patrick Mahomes. I just want to look like Scott Farrell. I'm going to just look like Farrell every day here on the show, not be my own guy too. All right, Deshaun Foster. Remember last week we talked about his opening press conference for UCLA. He was super nervous. He couldn't find the words to say. And if you remember during the press conference when he was introduced, he said, not a lot of teams know where we are. We're in LA. And that was like all he said. And then there was like a pause for like 40 seconds. Well, he's made fun of himself. Now, this I can appreciate. Somebody came up with a good idea, which is to slap a T-shirt on him that says, "We're in LA." Really good idea. And as you can see, this is where self-deprecation works in sports, in life. You have to be able to make fun of yourself just a little bit. And Deshaun Foster posting that shirt there that says, "We're in LA." Very well done. Good job, Deshaun. Good job, UCLA. If you can't make fun of yourself, you can't make fun at all. So I get that too. All right, that will do it for our show today. I want to thank all of our guests here on the show. And of course, thanks to Sam McQuillan from Legal Sports Report. Thank you to Josh Graham for coming on from North Carolina, talking some college football as well. And also Bill Bender from Sporting News, talking some Olympics with us as well. Our producer is Frankie B, and I'm Craig Mish. And guess what? We are far from done here on SportsGrid. Live programming coming your way, 1 o'clock Eastern. Make sure you are tuned in because Kaplan and crew have got you from 1 to 3, followed by Pharrell Coast to Coast at 3, Game Time Decisions, in-game live prime time, and then Sports Rage late night. Gabe has all of the Olympic action, all of the odds. Folks, it is a wonderful event for those of you who have not been paying attention. And if you're into sports betting and you want an edge on the Olympics, we have you covered all this week and all next week throughout the Olympic Games. And for those of you who are interested in the National Football League, it is back tonight. Hall of Fame game. Cannot believe we're here, but thank goodness we are. Houston Texans and Chicago Bears. Houston, I think I saw favored. Why? I don't know. You tell me. Houston favored by 2 in the first preseason game. How did they even make this line? Total 30.5. That I understand. They don't score a lot. Not going to bet that game. Have a great night, everybody. I'll see you tomorrow for our next edition of NewsWire.